This is Mario Andretti, and you are listening to Below the Yellow Line.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Below the Yellow Line, parts of the Elevation 5280 Sports Network here on Elevation5280sports.com, the Elevation 5280 Facebook page, Spotify, and all those other great places where this show is. My name is Samuel Stubbs, host of Below the Yellow Line, bringing you all your NASCAR news, race recaps, previews, and whatever else you guys want to talk about. You can also find us on the Elevation 5280 Sports YouTube page, and be sure to leave a comment over there if you want to, and I'll talk racing with you over there. You can also find me on the Below the Yellow Line YouTube channel. Just type it in the search bar there, Below the Yellow Line. You'll find us there, and on Spotify and all those other places where you can get your audio podcasts as well. Busy weekend this past weekend at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. Busy weekend, busy Easter weekend coming up at Richmond Raceway. 3 races to recap, 2 races to preview. Let's go ahead and just jump into this here with Circuit of the Americas, the 4th year that Circuit of the Americas, COTA as it is known, has been on the schedule. And in the Truck Series race, there was a lot of storylines going into this race. It's Corey Heim that gets the win, Tricon Garage, with all 5 of their trucks in the top 10. They lock out half of the top 10. First time that's ever happened. But it was the 4th place finisher, 17-year-old Connor Zilisch, that had the NASCAR world talking, not on Saturday, but on Friday afternoon. He won the pole, didn't just win the pole by 7/10 of a second over Corey Heim, and looked really, really fast, was fast in practice. On lap 1, though, he probably threw away his shot to win the race. Blows through turn 1, just didn't brake soon enough. Something went wrong, obviously. Was a couple laps down, got those laps back, showed enough speed where he got back in the hunt, and ultimately only ends up in 4th after a late restart. But this kid can drive, and even when he was laps down in dirty air, he was the fastest truck on the racetrack. Zilisch is a guy, he won the 12 Hours of Sebring already this year. He's already a 24 Hours of Daytona winner. Those are probably the 2 most, aside from Le Mans, the 2 most prestigious endurance races in the world, 2 of the most prestigious auto races in the world in any motorsport series. So the fact that he's 17 in a pole in his debut in the NASCAR Truck Series is just, another, a blip on the radar, just another small little drop in the trophy case. That says something about how talented this young kid is. Kyle Larson touched on it in his press conference on Friday. He said that, he told him earlier in the week, texted him, he'd blow the field away, if the race went well, and if nobody drove through him in the race. Nobody drove through him in the race. He just drove through the first corner on the first lap, and ultimately that's what doomed him. So it was Corey Heim that got his first win of the season, what's likely going to be the first of many wins for Corey Heim. But I think Zilisch was the main story, and then I think if he doesn't blow that corner, he probably wins this race. Or maybe he finishes better than 4th. Maybe he's runner-up. Maybe he's 3rd. But that first corner changed this truck race in a huge way. So it's Corey Heim that wins, locks himself into the playoffs. Taylor Gray, a runner-up. That first win is coming for him likely sooner rather than later. You could say the same about Zilisch. Majeski in 3rd, Zilisch 4th, Cup driver Ross Chastain 5th. Road ringer Jack Hawksworth in 6th. You had Ben Rhodes in 7th. A big win, or not win, a big solid day for Ben Rhodes. We talked on the show last week about how Ben Rhodes just wasn't having a good start to the year. He's a 2-time champion, the defending champion. You expect a guy like him to go out there and put on a show week in and week out. Hadn't done that this year. COTA, he didn't necessarily put on a show, but he had a better day than he has had previously this year. Christian Eckes, last week's winner of Bristol in 8th. Dean Thompson in 9th. Tanner Gray in 10th. You had Ty Dillon, similar to Rhodes, just needed a solid day and got that in 11th. Yeah, Grant Enfinger 12th. Jack Wood 13th. Jake Garcia 14th. Rajah Caruth 15th. This was the first race that Rajah Caruth had finished outside the top 10 this year. Pretty impressive for a guy in his non-rookie campaign, but sophomore campaign. Bailey Curry 16th. Timmy Hill 17th. Nick Sanchez in 18th, Stephen Parsons 19th, Stuart Friesen 20th, Carter Fartuk in 21st, Chase Purdy 22nd, Matt Crafton 23rd, Matt Mills 24th, Tyler Ankrum 25th. He is no longer the points leader. Dale Quarterly 26th, Lane Riggs 27th. The first time ever that the 38 truck has lost a race at COTA. Ty Gillen won there in that 38 in 2021. Zane Smith won there the last 2 years. So Lane Riggs finishing 27th. Lane told me in an interview on Below the Yellow Line this past offseason, hey, not a road racer. Never run a road course in my life. COTA, there's going to be a lot of pressure on me there. And I think there was some mechanical issues, but, I also think Lane Riggs is not a great road course driver, and that's okay for a guy in his rookie season. You had Daniel Dye, 28th, Brett Holmes, 29th, Spencer Boyd, 30th. The wheels literally came off for Marco Andretti, who just lost the rear wheels with the few laps to go, brought out, I believe, the final caution of the race. Spawned plenty of jokes, plenty of memes, of course, across social media, but not a great day for Marco Andretti. Thad Moffitt, 32nd. Rough starts to the year for them. The brand new Faction 46 team. Lawless Allen matching his truck number in 33rd. Vincente Salas, unfortunately, ends up 34th with transmission issues. Only completed 33 laps, but I mentioned him because he is a full-time sim racer. Only 21 years old, full-time in the iRacing eNASCAR Coca-Cola Series, and got his shot, made the race, only finished 34th, but I think we'll be seeing more of Vincente here in the near future. And Mason Massey rounds out the field here in 35th. So Corey Heim is your winner. He is the 5th winner on the season. Only the fourth driver, full-time to win in 5 races, but 5 winners through 5 races is pretty good for the Truck Series. Kyle Busch is the non-full-time winner, but Heim joins Rajah Caruth, Christian Eckes, Nick Sanchez as drivers who are locked into the playoffs. Only 6 playoff spots left. Only now 11 races left in the regular season for the Truck Series. 18 total. There's including their 7-race playoff stretch to end the year. But only 6 spots left in the playoffs. If you're a bubble guy, you got to be getting a little nervous. Some of these top contenders are taking up your spots here with wins. So you got Heim locked in, Caruth, Sanchez, Eckes locked in. You have Ty Majeski. He is plus 77 here to the cut line. Tyler Ankrum does lose the points lead. Corey Heim now does take over the regular season points lead by 10 over Majeski. You have Ankrum, who is plus 76 to the cut line. You have Taylor Gray, who is plus 59. You have Matt Crafton, who is plus 28. Enfinger plus 19. Tanner Gray right now, the last driver in the playoffs, plus 1. We talked about Ben Rhodes, who made a big jump this week. I think he was 17th in the points, around 30 out of the playoffs, heading into COTA, leave Circuit of the Americas, just 1 point out of the playoffs in 11th. Brett Holmes is now minus 18. Stuart Friesen, minus 19. Jake Garcia, minus 20. Daniel Dye, 15th in the points, minus 22. Bailey Curry, 16th, minus 24. You have Dean Thompson, who is minus 28 there in 17th. Timmy Hill, who is 18th, minus 35 rather. Ty Dillon, 19th there. He is minus 41. Chase Purdy, minus 46 in 20th. Spencer Boyd there, 21st. He is minus 52. Lane Riggs really not in a good spot early. Lane currently sits 60 points out of the playoffs in 23rd. So those are your playoff standings, your point standings through 5 races. Manufacturer-wise, you got the Chevy with 4 wins, Toyota 1, Ford none. Chevy leads Toyota by 19, and Ford by 31. Ford 12 back at Toyota in the manufacturer standings. Owner standings, the big truck here to point out, the 7 for Spire is second, right behind the 11. You also have down there the 91 for McAnally Hilgman is in 11th. The 1 for Tricon, 13th. The 45 for Nice in 12th. Moving on now, the NASCAR Xfinity Series. This race was the best one of the weekend, in my opinion. You had Shane Van Gisbergen and Austin Hill, Kyle Larson going for the win late. Hill, one of the best drivers in the Xfinity Series right now. SVG, just an otherworldly talent behind any kind of race car. Kyle Larson, a Cup champion, one of the greatest race car drivers in the Northern Hemisphere. It was Larson that got the win. SVG and Hill, though, did most of the drawing, most of the talking. They provided most of the talk. You had some controversy with Parker Kligerman, AJ Allmendinger about penalties they maybe should have received, maybe shouldn't have received. I'm not the one to judge there, but the last lap is what everybody's talking about. You have Austin Hill, Shane Van Gisbergen. Van Gisbergen felt like Austin Hill used him up on that last restart, that overtime restart with 2 to go. SVG tried to repay the favor, but repaid it a little too much. Had a lot of damage on the hood of his Chevrolet Camaro 97 car for Colleague Racing. And Hill and SVG go wide. Kyle Larson swoops under him and steals his 15th career NASCAR Xfinity Series victory. So Hill finishes second, 5 top 5s in the first 5 races of the year for him. That's a great streak. You won't see SVG, though, in the top 26 on the result sheet. That's because he was given a 30-second penalty. He officially ends 27th. He would have been second after a qualifying second. Being really fast in practice, he incurs a 30-second penalty on the last lap. And track limit penalties, those are something that was a subject of controversy all weekend from NASCAR, the NASCAR fans. They're a thing in F1, IndyCar, all these other series. Track limits not really a thing in NASCAR. It doesn't seem like, unless we're at COTA. And then they get really technical. I talked about, might be wondering, well, what's the Kligerman Allmendinger controversy? That's because Allmendinger was penalized for cutting the course and Kligerman wasn't. And obviously, there's fans upset about that. You either got to penalize one of them, or either got to penalize none of them, or penalize both of them. You can't really have one without the other. Daniel Suarez pointed that out on the broadcast. So, some frustration there. Hill was frustrated with SVG. SVG frustrated with Austin Hill. SVG now knows how hard it is to win these races. He's a cup winner, but he now knows that, these guys aren't afraid to trade paint. These guys aren't afraid to rough you up a little bit late in these races. And if he's going to be a playoff driver in Xfinity, if he's going to be a top caliber cup driver here a few years down the line full time, that's a lesson he's going to be taught over and over again, a lesson he's eventually going to have to learn. Not too other many takeaways from this race. Kyle Larson only led one lap, the most important lap. SVG, I believe, led the most laps in this race with 20. He's tied with his teammate Allmendinger for that stat. So, that's a thing where those two guys showed that they are the best 2 road course drivers in the series, full-time drivers in the series. So, they're going to be contenders. Next road course race. And by the way, COTA, the only road course race for the Truck Series this year, the next one for Xfinity, is it Sonoma? I think it's Sonoma. And then you have Chicago, you got the Glen, you got the Roval. So a little bit, we got till June, till our next road course. But be interesting to see what these guys can do on the ovals, especially Van Gisbergen. So Larson the win, Austin Hill in second, John Hunter Nemechek third, Cole Custer in fourth. Strong start to the year for the defending champ. Kligerman in fifth, Jesse Love in sixth. How about Austin Green, related to Jeff Green, David Green, 2 former Busch Series champions, and it's Austin Green with the top 10. Chandler Smith, the only other driver besides Hill to finish top 10 in every race this year. He finishes 8th. Sam Mayer, much like Ben Rhodes, having a horrible start to the year, just needed a good run and got that at COTA. Allmendinger relegated to 10th after that penalty. Retzloff 11th. Alfredo in 12th. Allgaier 13th. Ryan Sieg 14th. Brennan Poole rounds out your top 15. Brandon Jones in 16th. Sage Karam in 17th. Had a little run in there with AJ Allmendinger. Brad Perez 18th. Jeremy Clements 19th. Leland Honeyman in 20th. You had Daniil Kvyat, former F1 driver, 21st. Blaine Perkins, 22nd. Haley Deegan, 23rd. Ty Gibbs, 24th. Patrick Gallagher, 25th. Alex LeBay, 26th. SVG, 27th. R.C. Anderson, 28th. Kyle Weatherman, 29th. Jeb Burton, 30th. He's the only real damper on Jordan Anderson Racing's day. You had Josh Bilicki, 31st. Sheldon Creed, 32nd. Ryan Ellis in a wreck, 33rd. Riley Herbst also in an incident, 34th. Ed Jones, 35th. Sammy Smith, 36th. You had Ty Dillon, 37th. And par for the course this year, Josh Williams continues his horrible start to the year, finishing last in 38th. Looking at the standings, it is Austin Hill that leads Chandler Smith in the regular season standings by 9. Those two, I think, are, maybe you can't say they're going to have a runaway for the championship, the regular season title, but nobody else has 4 top 10s, and they both have at least 4 top 5s, top 10 in every race. Just unmatched levels of quickness and consistency. You have Hill that's won, Chandler Smith that is won. Obviously, Larson's win doesn't count towards the playoffs, so they're the only two full-time guys that have won and locked themselves into the postseason. Still 10 playoff spots remaining open for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. So that means Cole Custer right now is plus 69 to the cut line. Then you have Jesse Love plus 43, Riley Herbst plus 42. Allmendinger plus 39, Kligerman in 7th, he is plus 24, Allgaier plus 20 there in 8th. Jones, Brandon Jones, that is, plus 16 in 9th, Sheldon Creed plus 12 in 10th. Then you have Sammy Smith plus 1, Anthony Alfredo right now plus 0. He has the tiebreaker over Ryan Sieg. He is the last man in the playoffs as we head to Richmond. Sieg minus 0, the first man out of the playoffs as we head to Virginia. SVG minus 15 there in 14th. Then you have Parker Retzloff, minus 20 in 15th. Brennan Poole, minus 31 in 16th. Jeremy Clements, minus 32 in 17th. Leland Honeyman, minus 38 in 18th. Sam Mayer, minus 48 in 19th. Blaine Perkins rounds out your top 20 also, minus 48. Ryan Ellis, minus 50 in 21st. So, those are your driver standings. Owner points wise, you have the 20 for Joe Gibbs Racing in 8th, the 19 for JGR in 12th. Those are the big ones to keep your eye on. Manufacturer wise, it is Chevy leading Toyota by 4, Ford by 35, Ford at 31 back at Toyota. Chevy 3 wins, Toyota 2, Ford none. Ford has not won a race in any series of NASCAR this year. So that's 10, that's 16 races, plus the Clash. I don't remember if they won a duel or not, but they haven't won a points-paying race in NASCAR in a top 3 series this year. A little shocking when you sit back and think about it. Last race that we had to recap, the NASCAR Cup Series race. Of course, the race that's getting top billing. A race that underwhelmed a bit. I think Xfinity was probably the best race of the weekend. It was William Byron, though, who dominated. He decimated the field. 42 laps led. A guy that just keeps getting better every single year, every single week. 3rd straight year, he's won 2 races in the first 6. 3rd straight year, he's the first driver to win multiple races. Daytona 500 winner. Didn't really show much in those other weeks, but at COTA, he was clearly top dog. So you have him winning the race. C. Bell in 2nd. Maybe if he gotten around Ty Gibbs earlier, he would have had a chance, but I think that 24 was just simply too good, especially as that race wound down. You had Ty Gibbs in 3rd, and if you're wondering what the big storylines were, it was really just Hendrick versus JGR. You had Ross Chastain, who had a pit stop go slow. He was right there with Byron. Bowman played pit strategy to his advantage and ended up 4th with it, but just nobody really had anything for Byron. He was the pole sitter. I know Bell, Chastain, some of them led laps in this race, but this is really William Byron's race to lose, and cool, calm, collected, poised under pressure is what he was. So Bell 2nd, Gibbs 3rd, Bowman 4th, Tyler Reddick, last year's COTA winner, my pick for this race, rounds out the top 5. AJ Allmendinger, a great day in 6th. You had Chastain 7th, Chris Buescher in 8th, the highest finishing Ford, and Ford struggles well documented. No Fords made the final round of qualifying, and no Fords threatened to win this race. Kyle Busch in 9th needed a good day after 2 horrendous weekends in a row at Phoenix and Bristol, respectively. MTJ, Truex in 10th. Joey Logano, much like Rhodes, much like Mayer, just needed a good result. Still not looking good on the playoff side, but 11th could have been a lot worse today. Blaney 12th, Briscoe 13th, Hamlin 14th. Hey, shout out Bubba Wallace in 15th. 15th's not necessarily anything to write home about, but for Bubba on a road course, it is, especially after Corey LaJoie got into Truex. Martin Truex's wheel just came apart, and Bubba incurred damage in that instant as well. But, really a good day for Bubba to bounce back from some of those issues. 16th, Chase Elliott had a course-cutting penalty. Larson, I believe, had a penalty as well. 16th and 17th for them. Austin Cindric, 18th. Zane Smith, 2-time COTA winner in the truck. Solid day. He was as high as 15th in this race. And then, faded a little bit there towards the end. SVG in 20th. He lost first gear, was having brake issues as well. Not a horrible day, all things considered, when you throw in all those issues for the Australian-born driver. John Hunter Nemechek, 21st. Carson Hocevar, 22nd. Ryan Priest, 23rd. LaJoy, 24th. Austin Dillon, 25th. Todd Gilliland, 26th. Kaz Gralla, 27th. Ricky Stenhouse, 28th. Komoe Kobayashi, 29th. Harrison Burton, 30th. Daniel Suarez, 31st. Eric Jones, 32nd. Brad Keselowski had a horrible day in 33rd. Noah Gregson also did 34th. Josh Berry, 35th. Timmy Hill, 36th. This is where you see a lot of Fords. Daniel Hemrick, 37th, just no speed in that car again. Michael McDowell, unfortunately, had power steering issues. He ends up 38th. And the last place driver in 39th is Justin Haley. He had a lot of speed for the second week in a row. Really good at Bristol last week. Good here today or yesterday at COTA 2. Ended up finishing 17th after running anywhere from 9th to 13th all day, but his car did not meet the weight limit. And ultimately, he ends up in last. But the biggest story of this race is dominance, simply, from William Byron. Point standings, it is Martin Truex who leads Ty Gibbs by 5 in the regular season. With the win, Byron is the first repeat winner on the year, so still 5 drivers have won through 6 races. Byron, Larson, you have, who else locked in here? Suarez, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin locked in. So yeah, Hamlin, Larson, Byron, Bell, Suarez, or your winning drivers. Martin Truex right now is plus 89 to the cut line. Actually, let me pull this up on the NASCAR app where it's a little easier to see. But Truex, Gibbs, they're feeling good right now. Manufacturer-wise, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Chevy leads Toyota by 8, Ford by 29, Ford 21 back to Toyota. Chevy 4 wins, Toyota 2, and again, Ford, no wins, no victories, on the season so far, and it's not good for Ford right now. I said in a couple articles for Yardbarker, there's going to be plenty of Ford executives, pacing the boardrooms this week because Ford is just showing no speed, and I think that's a really worrying thing. Whether you're a fan, whether you're a crew chief, whether you're a driver, whoever you are in this industry right now, if you're related to Ford, you're panicking, you're freaking out. You're saying, okay, we have this new car body, we have the last 2 Cup champions racing for us, racing for our premier team. And we can't, not only can we not get a win, we can't contend for wins. Chevy, Toyota, they've had their weekends where they've just whipped the field. Ford was good in Atlanta, really good at Daytona. They couldn't close it out with wins, but they showed speed to say, okay, they have something at least on the super speedways. These last 4 weeks, Ford has really been a no-show. Martin Truex is plus 89 to the cut line. You have Ty Gibbs plus 84. Ryan Blaney plus 80, Ross Chastain plus 51. Then it dips down to Chase Elliott, who is plus 42, Reddick plus 40, Bowman plus 34. Really good start to the year for Alex Bowman in a comeback season of sorts. Chris Buescher plus 22, Kyle Busch plus 19, John Hunter Nemechek plus 13, and Brad Keselowski plus 3, the last man in the playoffs at the moment. Chase Briscoe minus 3, the first man out. Bubba Wallace 18th minus 5. Then you have Cindric minus 15 in 19th. McDowell minus 15 in 20th. Eric Jones 21st minus 28. Joey Logano 22nd minus 34. Corey LaJoy 23rd minus 35. Then you have Ricky Stenhouse 36 points out of the postseason picture right now in 24th. Carson Hocevar 39 out in 25th. Todd Gilliland 53 out in 26th. Daniel Hemrick 55 out in 27th. Josh Berry is currently 57 points out of the playoff picture right now in 28th. In 28th. Austin Dillon the same in 29th. Ryan Priest 60 points out in 30th. Justin Haley would have been 26th in the standings if not for that penalty. With that penalty, drops to 31st, minus 61. Harrison Burton, kind of in must-win territory now, minus 69 and 32nd. You have Noah Gregson, who is minus 75 and 34th. That 35-point penalty really hurting him, or else he'd be around 26 right now, closer to that playoff picture. Zane Smith, also minus 75 in 35th. Last of all full-time drivers. Kaz Gralla is in there as well, but he's not going to run full-time. Cody Ware is going to take some rides in that 15 car, so that's why he's not listed. Next, we got 2 races coming up this weekend, Easter weekend at Richmond Raceway, the Xfinity Series and Cup Series. We're going to preview those next here on Below the Yellow Line. All right, moving on here, looking to preview now Richmond for the NASCAR Xfinity and NASCAR Cup Series. Let's take a look at the entry list for this Xfinity race at Richmond, shall we? A couple of big names in this race. You have Eric Almirola. He is in the 20 car. Taylor Gray, who we talked about earlier on the truck side, he is currently he was runner-up at Circuit of the Americas, currently plus 59 to the playoff cut line in trucks, doing great there. He's in this Xfinity race. The 14 car, the 6 car, we're not sure who's going to be in there yet. You also have COTA Truck Series winner Corey Heim. He's going to be in the 26 car. The 32 is also TBA. How about the 38 car? Matt DiBenedetto for RSS Racing, actually Viking Motorsports. This deal came together pretty recently, but Matty D is back in NASCAR, kind of. So, yeah, he's going to run the next 2 Xfinity Series races for this team. We'll see how he does. I'm not expecting much, not a great car, and he hasn't raced Xfinity in a very long time, so we'll see how it goes. The 66 car is also TBA for MBM. Bubba Pollard, short track racing legend, is in the 88 for Junior Motorsports, so that'll be an interesting one to watch. 39 cars entered for this race. Looking at the schedule here for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, early morning on Saturday, all their on-track activity on Saturday, and yeah, it is a very early morning, 8:30 a.m. practice and qualifying on FS1 for the NASCAR Xfinity Series. That's 8:30 Eastern. So if you're in California, you want to wake up at 5:30 a.m. to watch Xfinity practice and qualifying? Didn't think so. That's why they ought to put it on Friday. You know, we can have K&N Fast Friday back. NASCAR race day, 12:30 Eastern on FS1. Pre-race coverage will start at 1 Eastern on MRN. The race is the Toyota KR 250. It's at 1:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1, MRN, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. There's also NASCAR Race Hub, Weekend Edition, 10 a.m. Eastern Saturday on FS1. So Chandler Smith is your defending winner of this race. For a long time, Richmond was dominated by Toyota in whatever series, went there. Truck, Xfinity Cup, didn't matter. Last year, though, Chevy won both spring races. Larson won the Cup race. Chandler Smith, who was in a Chevy with Colleague at the time, won Xfinity. Chandler Smith is my pick to win this race. He's going back with the manufacturer that just seems to dominate Richmond every single time they go. That's why I'm picking him to win. I also think this is just a track that suits him. It's a track that wears out tires, a driver's racetrack. Chandler Smith has not had a finish worse than 8th this year. He is easily having the best year of his career in any series of NASCAR, truck, or Xfinity. So I have him winning this race. As far as expectations for a guy like Bubba Pollard, I would say like top 15, maybe top 20, depends on how chaotic it is. You're looking at another guy, how about Sammy Smith in a car that with Josh Berry was very good on the short tracks. We'll see how he does. Also interested in Brandon Jones, as bad of a year as they had last year, especially early in the season. The short tracks for Brandon Jones, Richmond, Martinsville, Bristol, those were his reprieve. Those were his respite from the just horrid weeks that he kept having. JRM always been good, well, everywhere, but especially on the short tracks. And Sam Mayer, 19th in points right now, 40th out of the playoffs. He needs a good week. 9th at COTA, solid day, but you want more. You need more from Sam Mayer. So Chandler Smith is my pick to win this race in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Underdog, maybe you put Corey Heim in there. I don't know. Solid short track driver in trucks, at least. Moving over to the NASCAR Cup Series. You look at the entry list here. The Cup Series entry lists now are pretty plain, but Ty Dillon is in the 16 car for Colleague. That's the biggest addition here. So 36 cars this week, nobody out of the ordinary aside from Ty Dillon. He's also running 5 other Cup races, so running 6 in total in the 16 Colleague racing car, which will certainly be interesting. You want to wake up at 1 a.m. Eastern on Saturday, you can rewatch that classic 1986 Cup Series race at Richmond, the Dale Earnhardt, Darrell Waltrip feud 38 years ago now. But the Cup Series has their practice and qualifying at 10:30 a.m. Eastern on FS1, MRN, and SiriusXM NASCAR Radio. NASCAR race day starts at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Easter Sunday. Happy Easter, everybody, by the way. 5:30 p.m. Eastern on FS1, and then it moves to Fox at 6. MRN's coverage will start at 6 Eastern, and at 7 p.m. Eastern, the green flag for the NASCAR Cup Series Toyota Owners 400 Easter Sunday night. Going to be a great one. MRN, Fox, SiriusXM, NASCAR Radio. Kyle Larson, your defending winner of that race. You had Chris Buescher win the last time we were at Richmond. Ford wouldn't mind a win. Ford has not won a race in any of the 3 series of NASCAR this year. Points race. They also didn't win the Clash. Again, I don't remember who won the duels. They might have won one of the duels. But even still, it's been a horrible start to the year for them, not just in Cup, but in Xfinity and trucks as well. But the Cup side really is where I've been noticing it. If Buescher could repeat, Logano's won here before, Keselowski's won here before. Ryan Blaney's usually pretty solid here. He hasn't won here yet, but he's pretty solid. The one guy I have my eye on, it seems crazy to call him an underdog, but I don't feel like he's shown race-winning speed this year, yet he's leading the regular season points. That's MTJ, Martin Truex. I believe his last one here, fall 2021, the race on 9/11, when he just decimated the field. Ty Gibbs finished 9th here in the spring last year. He's probably going to be a threat. But my pick is none of those guys. It's actually their teammate, Denny Hamlin, won the first 2, short track races of the year, if you want to call the Clash a short track. Won that, and then won Bristol, was very fast at Phoenix, which is also a shorter oval. I think this is Toyota's race to lose. I think if a Toyota loses this race, somebody needs to do some serious digging on why. Because as fast as Reddick and Bell and Hamlin and Gibbs and Truex have been at these short track races this year, there's no reason one of those 5 can't win it. Bubba Wallace could win it too. Led laps in the fall race at Richmond last year, looked really fast. You also look at Bell. I guess I mentioned him already, but if a Toyota car loses this race, especially one of the 6 from JGR 2311, you really got to be questioning some stuff, because there is no way they should lose this race. Now, William Byron, Kyle Larson, those are the 2 best cars in this race a year ago. I think Byron ultimately got dumped by Chastain. Look out for Josh Berry, finished 2nd in this race, filling in for Chase Elliott. So if he gets up there, if he gets track position, we saw he was fast at Bristol, didn't quite have the experience to know to save his tires. But if he gets up there, man, he is a short track ace. Came up driving modifieds, first Xfinity win, spring 2021 at Martinsville. That's a race I'll never forget, seeing the emotion on Josh Berry's face after winning that day in Virginia. So 2 straight Virginia short tracks here. We go from Richmond and on to Martinsville. And of course, we'll have you covered here on Elevation 5280 Sports, and with the show next Wednesday, and then over on the Below the Yellow Line YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, look up Below the Yellow Line. You'll see this show pop up probably, and then the channel, and that's me. You can see Xfinity truck Cup coverage over there all weekend long from Richmond. Trucks are off. They're back at Martinsville next week. So we'll have 2 races to recap, Xfinity and Cup, and then we'll preview 3 races, Truck, Xfinity, and Cup, as they head to Martinsville next week. Thank you for joining me, Samuel Stubbs, here for episode 2 of Below the Yellow Line. Again, you can find us on Spotify, Elevation 5280 Sports, elevation5280sports.com, and the Elevation 5280 Sports Facebook page. I'm Samuel Stubbs from Below the Yellow Line. See you next week, everybody. Happy Easter. Goodbye.